I found the envelope taped to my bedroom door on a quiet Thursday evening. My mom's handwriting on the front was unmistakable, neat, slanted, oddly formal for someone who normally sent texts for everything. I peeled it open and read the first line. "You're not invited to the wedding," it began. "Elena's relatives don't want you around." I stared at the paper for a full minute, waiting for my brain to catch up. My sister, Elena, was getting married in 2 weeks. I knew the date. I knew the venue. I even helped her pick her damn dress. And yet, somehow this was how I found out I wasn't welcome? No explanation. No apology. Just that single surgical sentence followed by some generic blabber about keeping the peace and understanding family dynamics. I crumpled the letter halfway before stopping myself. I wanted to scream. But the house was dead quiet. Mom was downstairs, probably watching one of her crime dramas, as if she hadn't just knifed me in the back and mailed me the blade. I texted Elena. "WDF is this?" No response. I waited an hour. Called. Straight to voicemail. That night I didn't sleep. I replayed every conversation we'd had over the past year. Had I said something? Done something? I kept coming back to a dinner last summer when one of Elena's fiancé's aunts had made a passive-aggressive comment about my tattoos. I'd laughed it off. Maybe I shouldn't have. By morning, my anger calcified into something colder, resolve. I went downstairs. Mom was sipping coffee at the kitchen table like nothing had happened. "You wrote me a letter?" I said. She looked up, no surprise on her face. "It's better this way, Liam. You know how Elena's future in-laws are." "No, I don't. Because you never told me." She sighed like I was being difficult. "They think you're too much. You know how you can be. Loud. Opinionated. And honestly, they just want a calm wedding." I laughed. "So I'm the family embarrassment now?" She didn't answer. Just looked down into her mug like it held all the wisdom of the world. "I helped her plan this wedding," I said, trying to stay calm. "I was supposed to give a speech. I'm her brother." "That's exactly why we had to do it this way," she said softly. "To spare your feelings." I walked out. I didn't go to the wedding, obviously. But I did watch it. Live-streamed like some cruel sitcom. Elena looked beautiful. Radiant. And hollow. She smiled like someone wearing a mask. When the camera panned across the guests, I recognized people who barely knew her. And not a single one who knew her the way I did. A week later I got another letter. "I'm sorry," it started. "But you have to understand, I didn't want to lose them before I even joined them." It was signed by Elena. I never replied. I didn't know how to explain that she'd already lost me. 3 months passed. People say time heals, but mostly it just piles more silence on top of the wound. I didn't speak to Elena. I didn't speak to Mom. I avoided every family group chat like it was radioactive. I muted all of them, let birthdays slide by with no texts, missed Dad's retirement party. I was out. But of course they didn't let me stay gone for long. It was a Tuesday when I got the knock on my door. I just finished a double shift, still wearing my apron from the coffee shop, and there she was. Elena. Standing on my porch with a box in her arms and that same expression she used to wear when we were kids and she broke something important. "I thought you might want these," she said. She handed me the box. Inside were photos, drawings, the old board game we used to play on sick days. A tiny ceramic fox I'd made her in 5th grade. Things I hadn't even remembered giving her. "What is this?" I asked. "A peace offering," she said. "Or maybe a confession." I let her in. I don't know why. Maybe because she looked smaller somehow, like life had chipped away at her edges. We sat on the couch and she told me everything. The letter wasn't her idea. It was Mom's. Her in-laws hadn't said anything about me. Not a word. In fact, they'd been excited to meet me. "The brother who did art, the funny one," Elena said. But Mom had twisted it. She told Elena I didn't want to come. That I thought the wedding was a sham. That I'd said it behind her back. Elena believed her. Because Mom was always the one who smoothed things over. Made decisions. Controlled the story. "I should have called you," she said. "I should have asked. But I was scared. I didn't want to ruin things with them before they even started." "And you ruined us instead," I said. She flinched. "Yeah. I know." We sat in silence for a long time after that. The kind that stretches years into minutes. "I don't know how to fix this," she whispered. "You can't," I said. "But you can stop pretending like it didn't happen." She nodded, tears in her eyes. Before she left, I handed her the fox. "Keep it," I said. "You're still my sister. But it's going to take more than a box of memories to unwrite that letter." When she walked out the door, I didn't feel closure. I didn't feel better. But I didn't feel nothing anymore either. And maybe that was a start. 2 more months slipped by. Things didn't magically get better. I didn't rush over to Elena's house with open arms. We didn't hug in the rain, didn't laugh over coffee like nothing happened. But we texted. Short things mostly. She sent me a picture of the ceramic fox on her bookshelf. I sent back a thumbs up. Then she texted a photo of a sketch I made her years ago. I still look at this when I don't know who I am. I replied, you always knew. You just stopped listening. No response to that one. Mom stayed silent. I didn't expect her to reach out. She made her choice and she'd probably still call it the right one. I think that's what scared me the most, not that she hurt me but that she never saw it as hurt. Just what needed to be done. Like I was some variable she could cut from the equation to balance the image. But then on a slow Sunday afternoon I got a voicemail. It was Mom. Liam, I know you're not ready to talk and maybe you never will be. But I want you to know something. I thought I was protecting Elena. I really did. But I wasn't. I was protecting myself. From judgment, from how things looked, from what people might say. And in doing that, I made you feel like you weren't part of this family. I can't take that back. I wish I could. I listened to it twice. Then 3 more times. She didn't ask me to call her back. She didn't beg for forgiveness. Just left it there. And I realized I didn't hate her. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was just tired. Tired of being the one who always had to prove he belonged. The next weekend I got another knock at the door. This time it was Elena and her husband, Lucas. First time I ever saw him in person. He looked nervous. He held out a 6-pack of beer and said, we thought we'd come by for game night. Elena added, if you're okay with that. I stared at them for a second. Then at the 6-pack. Then I sighed and stepped aside. Only if I get first pick of snacks, I said. Lucas grinned like he passed a test. Elena looked like she might cry again but she didn't. And just like that the door stayed open. Not wide. But open. Game night turned into a monthly thing. It was never anything extravagant, just board games, takeout, casual conversation, but it was more than we'd had in over a year. Lucas was decent. A little too polite at first, like he was scared he might say the wrong thing and break me, but over time he loosened up. Turned out he had a sharp sense of humor under all that politeness. We started calling each other out over Uno like we'd been brothers for years. Elena softened too. The tension between us didn't disappear, but it melted into something livable. We didn't talk about the wedding. Not directly. But sometimes, in between turns or during a lull in conversation, we'd circle it. Glance at it like a scar you both know is there. Then came Mom's birthday. Elena asked if I'd go. I'm not asking you to make peace, she said. Just be there. I thought about it. I thought about the letter. The silence. The way she sipped her coffee while my heart cracked open. I thought about that voicemail, those 3 sentences where she finally stopped pretending she had all the answers. And I went. The house hadn't changed. Same smell. Same framed photos lining the hall. Only now, I noticed how many of them didn't include me. Or if I was in them, I was at the edge, half cut off. Forgotten. Mom answered the door like I was a ghost. Her mouth opened but no sound came out. Hi, I said. That was it. Just 1 syllable. She stepped aside. The evening was stiff. There were awkward silences. The food was too perfect, like she tried to overcompensate with appetizers. At one point she offered me the same brand of tea I used to drink in high school. It felt like an olive branch from someone who wasn't sure I still liked olives. When dessert came out, Elena suddenly stood and said, we should talk. Just like that. Like she couldn't take the pressure anymore. She looked at me then at Mom. We can't pretend nothing happened, she said. And Liam shouldn't have to carry this alone. Mom put down her fork. Slowly. I know, she said. Silence followed. But it wasn't sharp this time. It was weighty. Real. I hurt you, she said to me. I know I did. I thought I was doing the right thing. But it wasn't right for you. I let fear run the show. And I let you pay for it. I didn't say anything for a while. Then I nodded. You did. I'm sorry. It wasn't a dramatic moment. No tears. No sweeping music. Just my mom sitting across the table from me, finally saying what should have been said a long time ago. I didn't forgive her instantly. That's not how real life works. But I stayed for coffee. And when I left, she hugged me. Hesitant. Gentle. I let her. Because sometimes healing isn't a moment. It's 1,000 small choices. And that night I made one of them. 6 months later, Elena called me on a Wednesday afternoon. Can you come over? She asked. There's something I want you to see. When I got there, she was barefoot on the porch, hair pulled into a messy knot, wearing one of Lucas's oversized shirts like it was armor and pajamas all in one. She led me inside without saying much. The living room had changed. Brighter. Warmer. I noticed new plants, a shelf full of board games, and above the fireplace, framed art. What? The sketch I gave her years ago, now in a real frame, centered like a centerpiece. She followed my eyes. Lucas said we should hang it where people would see it. I looked at her. He's smart. She smiled. He is. But he didn't know what he was walking into with our family. No one ever does. We sat. She handed me a folder. Inside was a story. Handwritten. 10 pages. I started going to therapy, she said. They asked me to write about the moment everything changed. This is what came out. I didn't read it there. I took it home. That night I read it twice. She didn't hold back. She wrote about growing up in a house where being perfect meant keeping your voice low, your choices safe, and your brothers quieter. She wrote about me. Not just the wedding but everything before it. How I made her feel seen when Mom made her feel small. How I scared her sometimes not because of who I was, but because I never filtered myself and she didn't know how to do that without falling apart. She wrote, I erased him because it was easier than confronting who I'd become. I cried. Quietly. Then messily. A week later I wrote her back. Not 10 pages. Just a single one. I told her I didn't need an apology to love her, but I did need honesty. And now I had it. At the end I wrote, we're not perfect but maybe we're finally real. She framed that too. Next to the fox. As for Mom, we're not best friends. We probably never will be. But we talk now. She asks about my work, my friends, my art. Sometimes she sends me pictures of things she's found at antique stores, asking if I could do something cool with them. I always say yes. Even when I don't know what I'll do yet. Because sometimes healing is slow. Quiet. Uneven. But it still counts. And every time I walk into Elena's living room and see my sketch on that wall, I remember. I wasn't the one who didn't belong. I was just the one who wouldn't disappear. I always thought I was the good one. The one who smoothed things over. Who knew how to read a room and say the right thing. I thought that was a strength. But it turns out, being palatable isn't the same as being kind. The day I let Mom write that letter to Liam, I told myself it was for the best. That we were just avoiding drama. That he'd understand eventually. But when I watched my wedding video back, I saw something else. I saw a smile on my face that didn't reach my eyes. I saw Lucas's family clapping, cheering, and I felt this hollowness inside me because mine wasn't whole. I thought I could ignore it. That it would pass. But every time someone said, your brother didn't come? Or, wasn't he part of the planning? I felt that hollowness crack a little wider. I wanted to call him the day after the wedding. I stared at my phone for hours. But I didn't. I waited. And the longer I waited, the heavier the silence got, like if I broke it, it would break me too. It wasn't until Lucas found me crying in the shower 6 weeks later that I said the words out loud, I think I made the wrong choice. He didn't say anything at first. Just sat on the floor outside the bathroom and waited. Then he told me to write. So I did. I wrote 10 pages I never meant to share. Then I realized they weren't for me. They were for Liam. And when he read them, really read them, and wrote me back, it felt like someone reached inside my chest and set something broken back in place. I still don't know if I deserve his forgiveness. But I know I'll keep showing up for it. Every game night. Every text. Every ordinary moment I used to take for granted. As for Mom, that's Messier. We've had long talks. Ugly ones. Honest ones. There were tears, and once I almost left in the middle of a conversation because I couldn't take hearing her justify it again. But eventually she stopped justifying and just said, I was wrong. She didn't say it like someone trying to win. She said it like someone finally letting go of control. It wasn't the end. But it was something. Liam and I are closer now than we were before the wedding. Not because everything's fixed, but because nothing's hidden anymore. And there's something beautiful about being fully seen and still wanted in someone's life. Even when you've messed up. Especially then. I used to think parenting meant control. Not love, not protection, control. Keep your kids safe, keep them respectable, keep the family image polished like the silverware we only brought out for holidays. I grew up that way and I passed it down without thinking. Elena was easy. She learned fast, how to be small, how to make herself agreeable. She adapted like a chameleon. I was proud of her for that. Liam wasn't like that. He came into the world like a spark, bright, unfiltered, uncontainable. He asked questions no one wanted to answer and wore his heart like armor he refused to take off. I didn't know what to do with a child I couldn't soften. So I pushed. and when he pushed back I decided he was the problem. When Elena's wedding came, I saw a chance to finally make things perfect. Neat. Quiet. Free of anything that might make the new family raise an eyebrow. Liam didn't fit that picture. So I erased him. Not out of cruelty. Out of fear. And I thought, stupidly, that a letter would be easier than a confrontation. That it would bruise, not break. I was wrong. I watched him walk around the house after the wedding like a ghost that no one could see. I heard the silence echo in his absence. And still I didn't reach out. Pride is a terrible thing when it's worn like a crown. But one day I opened the hallway closet to grab a coat, and I saw it. An old photo of the three of us taken before the world complicated us. Liam had his arm around Elena, both of them mid-laugh, sun in their hair. That picture cracked something in me. So I called him. Not to explain, just to admit. I told the truth finally. That I hurt him. That I was afraid. That I was sorry. He didn't call back. But when he came for my birthday, stood in my doorway, older than I remembered and quieter than I expected, I saw it in his face. Something had shifted. Not forgiven, not forgotten. But softened. Like the door was unlocked even if it wasn't open yet. Elena made us talk. She always had a better heart than I gave her credit for. That night, after the cake was cut and the guests were gone, Liam sat at the kitchen table with me. No yelling. No accusations. Just two people who used to live in the same house, trying to figure out how to live in the same story again. He didn't say, "I forgive you." He didn't have to. He stayed. That's how I know we'll be okay. I don't expect a clean slate. I just hope, someday when my name comes up, he remembers that I changed, even if it came too late to change everything. Because love isn't just what you say. It's what you do after you've said all the wrong things. And this time I'm listening.